The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Meridian, Idaho, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 39105. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation. First, starting on the face of the front bumper, you'll find dual air horns on the passenger and driver side. Located in the center, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker system. Moving to the outer edge, you'll find your stabilizers for the front on the passenger and driver side front bumper. Moving up onto the cab face, turn indicator marker light, and just inside that location, the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. High beam will be located on the inside. Just above that location, forward-facing emergency warning light cluster. As we look to the center of the grille area, this is where you'll find your mechanical siren. Just behind the Pierce logo is where you'll find the release mechanism for the hood. Moving up onto the windshield, there are 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. As we move to the outer edge of the A-pillar, you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Located directly behind the center section of the windshield, you'll find your Haas system, which is a collision avoidance system. Moving over to the passenger side, you'll find a convex downward-facing mirror, and as we move to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight. Moving up onto the roof of the apparatus, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Let's go ahead and take a look at the side of the apparatus from the driver's perspective. We'll move into the cab section next, starting with your front axle, where you'll find Goodyear tires, Alcoa wheel, and a visual sight gauge indicator into the center axle area. As to the front bumper extension, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. And then as we move up to the doors, you'll find easily accessible with a gloved hand. These are your door handle, latch, and keyed locks. Right next to it, you'll find a grab handle for gaining entry and exit in and out of the cab. They are backlit. Directly over the front axle, you'll find your auto shoreline power. It is an auto eject. And right next to it, you'll find a emergency warning light side facing. Down in the lower portion of the rear portion of the cab area, you'll find a D handle gains you access into the pan door for additional storage. When plugged into shoreline power, the auto charge system will activate, indicating battery status. Moving over the rear cab area, you'll find a side-facing floodlight, and as we move to the rear cab wall, you'll find your LED water tank level indicator. Let's move now to the midsection, where you'll find your pump. We'll go into great detail into this section. We'll save that for just a few moments. First, let's start with the body section, where you'll find your lower zone emergency warning lights. Just in front of the rear tandem axles, you'll find a side-facing marker turn indicator. Just up from that location, you'll find a side-facing scene light. And then as we move to the rear portion of the body, you'll find a 360-degree emergency warning light at the rear portion. As we move around to the rear of the apparatus, you'll find your marker lights, which are on an arm. As we move inside, you'll find emergency warning, brake, turn, and reverse light cluster. Just inside that location, you'll find 2 tow hooks on the passenger and driver side. Moving up, you'll find rear-facing emergency warning lights. And as we move toward the center, you'll find a traffic advisor at the very top section of the body. Just underneath the traffic advisor is where you'll find your backup camera. And then also as we move to the right, you'll find your hose chute located on the passenger side. There are 2 ladders for gaining access into the bucket area. As we move around to the passenger side, on this location, you'll find the exhaust located just in front of the rear axle. We'll come back to the pump section on the passenger side in just a few moments. We're now into the cab section, pretty close to the same configuration and layout. Same thing as the body section. Let's take a look at some close-ups of those items we talked about, first with the front bumper extension. We do have some additional warning placards here indicating pinch and crush injury hazards because of the movement of those front stabilizers. As we look behind the Pierce logo, you'll find the release mechanism for your hood. As we move to the driver's side and passenger side underneath, you'll find on the passenger side the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. As we move toward the driver's side, you'll find your radiator overflow and recovery tank, in addition with instructions for the cab tilt for raise and lower. Just to the right, you'll find the yellow and black button. This is the activation button for cab lift and lower, and then also the red selector switch here, which is protected for either raise or lower. Just to the right, you'll find your power steering fluid. There is a visual sight gauge and also dipstick on the top section of the tank. Let's move into the driver's side of the vehicle. We'll start first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window control, and a grab handle. As we move into the cab area, at the base of the step, you'll find the air inlet, which is recessed. At about the right ankle of the operator, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, cold tire inflation, gross vehicle weight rating, the VIN number, all of the fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and also fluid type. As we move to the floor, you'll find your mechanical siren foot pedal, and then just up from this location about the left knee, you'll find your engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic port, tech module, and display port for your maintenance team. Below that, the ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics, and regen inhibit switch. Let's move from this location just up and to the right of the steering column, where you'll find your interaxle differential lock. Now we're to the dash area, where you'll find your four-way flashers, start and ignition on the left-hand side of the cluster. Switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage or disengage all emergency lights. Headlight switch and panel switch, allowing you to brighten or dim lights within preview of the operator. On the opposite side of the steering column, the OK to engage the high idle indicator and switch. Moving up to the dash cluster on the left side, you'll find your transmission, oil, def level, water temp. As we move to the right side of the cluster, you'll find your front air, rear air, fuel volts. Located in the center, tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information regarding your vehicle will display above and below the tachometer in the tally information. Let's move slightly to the right of this location, where you'll find your yellow pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. You'll also find the command zone, tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. This is a touchscreen and also function buttons. We have some switches here for the aerial master, aerial PTO, stabilizer cameras, and air horn. In the next section down, you'll find a siren brake, which is for the mechanical siren. Moving down, we have some additional switches, first starting with the engine brake on and off, setting switch for low, medium, and high, front wheel lock, and mirror heat. Let's move just to the right, where you'll find your pump shift. There are instructions for its operation on the placard, from road to pump, and then also from pump to road. Just as a reminder, you need two green indicators, pump engaged and OK to pump, illuminating before exiting the cab. We also have some informational caution and warning placards located in this area also regarding your vehicle retarder. There are mirror controls located here for the left and right mirror, climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. As we look overhead of the operator, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 10 feet 10 inches, the length 43 feet 11 inches, gross vehicle weight rating 78,000 pounds. We also have the 5-digit job number located on this placard. If any changes are made to your vehicle, please update this placard. Let's move just to the right to the switch panel, where you'll find Emergency Master, Roof Light, Front Warning, Side Warning, Lower Rear Warning, Upper Rear Warning, Rear Blocking, and High Beam Flash. Moving to the right, you'll find your driver's side cab scene, front scene, passenger side cab scene,
driver's side body scene, rear scene, passenger side body scene, and load manager. Just to the right of this location, you'll find your traffic advisor, and then further to the right, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker control module. Let's move to the center between the officer and driver's position at the ceiling level. It's where you'll find the HOS system located behind this placard in between the windshield. That's your collision avoidance system. Also, you'll find your do not move your apparatus when this light is on, indicating you may have a compartment or door open. As we look to the rear, you'll find 2 fold-down seats on the rear cab wall and then 2 rear-facing SCBA seats. Behind the driver's seat, you'll find your manual cab tilt handle. When plugged into Shoreline power, this outlet becomes active, engaging the battery charger located on the base here. When the battery charger has been activated when you're plugged into the Shoreline power, you'll also find the battery status voltage will indicate in the window area. Your vehicle also is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, airbags. These are the locations of those airbags. Let's move down to the front axle where you'll find Goodyear tires, Alcoa wheel, and a visual sight gauge indicator. As we previously mentioned, we did go into the front section. Let's go into the rear section of the cab next, but let's first start with the door panel. Affixed to door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, combination, window control, and a grab handle. Overhead is your air conditioning unit, push on and off white and red lens lights. As we also notice, there are 4 seats located in the rear portion of the cab, 2 forward-facing and 2 rear-facing. The rear-facing house SCBAs. In between the 2 forward-facing, you'll find an EMS compartment. As we look in between the 2 SCBA rear-facing, this will be your lift and turn latch to gain you access into your daily checks for oil and transmission. In the EMS compartment, you'll find adjustable shelves, Shoreline outlet, and also a 12-volt drop. As we move to the exterior now, this is at the base of the rear compartment of the cab, additional storage location. We're now into the pump panel area. Let's start in discussion with this. There are 2 crosslays, crosslay 1 and crosslay 2, accessible both from the passenger and driver's side. Pressure throttle governor located on the far left, along with an audible speaker here. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate to dampen sound. As we move to the right into the gray module, you'll find your master intake gauge. Right next to that is the master discharge gauge. In between the 2 of those, test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. These are currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. We do have some additional discharges here. These are wheel valves located here for the passenger side discharge, large diameter, and aerial discharge. You'll also find the tank fill and recirculating line. Just beneath that, you'll find your tank to pump. Let's move just slightly down to the left on the pump panel where you'll find crosslay 1 and crosslay number 2. You'll also find the engine cooler, which is a twist, not a pull. As we move down to the left, you'll find a warning placard indicating that only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after proper training. As we move to the right, you'll find once again crosslay 1, crosslay 2. Moving across, you'll find your passenger side discharge and also the aerial discharge. Moving now down, the engine cooler, number 2 passenger side discharge, which is a 2.5 inch, and the number 1 driver's side discharge, which is a 2.5 inch. You'll also find your air prime pump for best practices at least 1000 RPM when engaging the primer. To the right, your water level indicator. And as we move down, you'll find the number 1 driver's side discharge, once again 2.5 inch. And then also a warning placard indicating that pressure hazard caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. As we move down, just a reminder, only trained personnel, as we've seen this before, should operate this piece of equipment. And then also warning, fall when climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. We do have your driver's side auxiliary inlet, locally controlled ball valve, female inlet. Also a danger placard indicating that the vehicle and ladder are non-insulated and for electrocution shock. To the right, you'll find your Watrous placard and also your pump drain and below that the manual pump shift. We do have color-coded and labeled discharge drains also along the very bottom section of the panel. Your vehicle is equipped with a wattress pump, capacity 2,000 GPM. We do have a pull-out and fold outward step for gaining additional size in the step area here. As we move to the vertical surface, you'll find your minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 psi. On the left, the associated GPM at test pressure, and on the right, the associated RPM at test pressure. The governed speed while in pump mode, 2,100 RPMs, 5-digit job number in the upper left-hand corner. We do have additional steps that we'll deploy here in the midsection of the truck for gaining access to the pedestal area. And also as we look to the step area just behind that, an additional access. You'll also find all the electronics and also hydraulic located in this area. At the very top section, we do have a warning here regarding aerial tip over if you are short jacking your vehicle. Also an additional tip over warning. Because we have high pressure hoses located in this area, we do have a danger placard located here. And at the very bottom, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment. As we move to the right, those individual valves are color-coded and also labeled. These are the aerial functions in the top gray area. In the midsection, you'll find either the diverter for stabilizer or aerial device. And then at the very bottom section, you'll find all of your additional stabilizer functions. We're directly over the stabilizer in the midsection of the apparatus, and we have a camera located here. You'll also find a warning regarding crush hazard injury because of the movement of that device. Let's go ahead and identify a few items within the compartments. First, starting here, we have a compartment with an adjustable shelf and also a drawer located in the lower section. We do have your DEF fill location, which is the blue cap, and also an SCBA bottle storage location just above that. The blue cap is your DEF fill, 4.5 gallons, also 3 SCBA bottles between the tandem axles and also one to the rear of the axle. Let's go ahead and move to the rear section of the axle where you'll find the 3 SCBA bottle storage location. This is between the two. As we move toward the rear section, single bottle SCBA, and also the silver cap, which is your ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. Moving just up into the compartment areas, you'll find an adjustable shelf and pull-out tray. And then at the very rear section, you'll find a hanging lower D-handle tray. In some of the compartments, you're going to find shoreline outlets. That means when plugged into shoreline power, those outlets will be active. Moving to the right, this is the lower section tray. D-handle gains you access into this space. Moving to the very rear section, we have a tool board on a pull-out tray at the rear of the apparatus. Moving now to the side, all compartment doors open. Let's go ahead and move to the rear of the apparatus next. First, let's start with the ladder section. Where the ladder deployment is, you'll find a warning regarding fall hazard. Always climb onto the vehicle and off the vehicle while facing it. Also a fall hazard indicating warning, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. And aerial stability hazard regarding short jacking your apparatus. We do have a push button emergency stop with an indicator, a protected override switch, and then also just to the right, your stabilizer enabled switch. We do have 3 locations for stabilizer control joysticks, tally lights indicating power and also deployment, and then also auto setup buttons. Please see the owner's manual for deployment. As we move down to the tail cluster at the top, you'll find an emergency warning light, brake light, turn, and reverse light. To the right, you'll find your rear scene lights in the cup switch area, and then also a warning information direct pull on the tow hooks located here. At the very bottom section, inclinometer. This is from left to right. As we move up to your ladder storage area, let's identify the ladder storage compartmentation. First, starting with a 2-section 35, 20-foot roof. On the opposite side, you'll find a 16-foot roof, 2-section 28, 10-foot folding, and a 10-foot folding. Also, long-handled tool storage. In the very base, additional storage just under your ladder storage. As we move up, this is the hose bed lights cupped switch, and then also a danger placard here indicating electrocution hazard. This equipment is not insulated. And also moving to the right, emergency, brake, turn, and reverse light cluster. As we move up, you'll find the hose chute, and right next to it we have a warning sticker here indicating entanglement hazard. As we move around to the passenger side, this is the rear stabilizer. Because of its movement, we do have a warning regarding crush injury. And on the rear compartment, we have a pull-out tray with a vertical tool board. As we move into the next compartment, adjustable shelf, tray that does pull outward, release located on the lower right. These outlets are activated when plugged into shoreline outlet power. As we move down, release mechanism on the tray, lower right-hand side. And as we go exterior at the bottom section, just to the rear of the axle, you'll find D-handle gains you access into this storage location. SCBA bottle storage to the rear of the rear axle for a single bottle. And then as we move forward to that location in between the two rear axles, we have SCBA bottle storage for up to 3 bottles. To the forward section, SCBA bottle for a single. Also like to point out extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regen operation. Please be cautious where you choose to park your vehicle. As we move into the compartment here, a pull-out tray. Then moving forward of this location, you'll find your camera. This is the stabilizer located here, and a warning placard indicating crush injury, and also a side-facing emergency warning light. As we move to the right, this is your aerial device hydraulic fluid level. At the base of the compartment, you'll find additional drains, one tank to pump, tank fill, and also the aerial drain. Moving now into the compartment, and now we'll go ahead and take a look at the pump panel area on the passenger side. Let's first start at the very top section with the 2 crosslays. These are accessible both from the driver and passenger side. As we look to the pump panel itself, a few warning placards indicating fall. When climbing on or off, make sure you face the vehicle. We do have an additional pan door located here. We'll cover the contents behind it in just a moment. We have 2 aerial inlets located here. It's the American flag Eagle Pierce logo, and then also a 2.5-inch discharge. Just inside the pan door is where you'll find your relief valve and settings screw. Moving now to the aerial inlet, there is a gauge also associated with that, and also a warning because of those caps may be under pressure. We do place a warning pressure hazard. At the very bottom, we have the primer drain and all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's take a general view here of the pump panel area, and then we'll move to the rear portion of the cab area, and then we'll go inside the cab at the rear portion. Before we do that, let's take a look at the door panel, because affixed to that door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window control, and a grab handle. Overhead, push on and off white and red lens lights, and your air conditioning unit. Once again, cab facility in the back housing 4 seats, 2 forward-facing and 2 rear-facing. In the center, you'll find your roll-up door for your EMS compartment. We're back out to the front axle, Goodyear tire, Alcoa wheel, visual sight gauge in the front axle area. Let's move into the officer space, and let's start with the door panel. A fixed door panel, safety warning placard information, door lock latch, window control electric, and a grab handle. As we move into the cab area, I'd like to point out that the floor level, we do have a foot pedal located at the very base. That is for your mechanical siren. As we move to the dash, just in front of the officer's seat, you'll find a glove box, and then also a supplemental restraint system, an airbag. and a warning placard indicating for mounting any equipment in this area. As we move to the ceiling area, push on and off red or white lens lights, also a map light, and then also storage locations here for the cutouts in the top section. An additional provisions plate here on the top of the engine tunnel for mounting of equipment, and 12-volt access via barrel style USB and a siren brake. All compartment doors are now open on the side of the vehicle, passenger side. Let's go ahead and start with the aerial device. This is a 5-section aerial device. As we move to the bucket area, we'll identify a few items within this area. As we move to a few warning placards, this is for the life system. This is for the life eye, life ladder, and life support. Please familiarize yourself with these warning placards. As you move to the right and left side, you'll find access doors for gaining entry into the basket area. As we move to the forward section, this is actually toward the rear of the apparatus, you'll find your control module. Starting in the left, you'll find the emergency stop push button. As we move down from that location, you'll find the aerial speed, either normal or fast, and then also a manual basket leveling. There is a protected switch and a switch for up and down. Pierce command zone, tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips, and then also ladder control for extend, retract, right, left, raise, lower. We do have additional lighting for under basket lights and also nozzle control. There are 2 discharges located here for your master streams. Let's go ahead and go back to a few of those warning indicators regarding short jacking, tip over, and only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment. And then also danger, electrocution hazard, because the apparatus is non-insulated. We do have the indication here for your ascendant aerial tower load chart, 100 foot under 35 mile an hour wind condition for waterway dry and waterway charged. In addition, with monitor nozzle positions, please familiarize yourself with these load charts. Also at the bottom, you do have additional asterisk information regarding freezing conditions. Toward the rear section of the basket, we do have additional storage locations. This one has a maximum capacity of 40 pounds. There's one on the passenger and driver side. Then as we move toward the sides of the ladder area, we have an additional storage location, also a 25-pound capacity. And as a reminder, when your aerial device is in operation, please make sure that these are latched and locked closed. As we move to the side of the aerial device, you'll find a 14-foot roof ladder. Then as we move to the outer edge, you'll find your life bracket system. As we move to the forward cab section, you'll find additional storage. A few images here of the ladder. And then now we'll move on to the pedestal area. At the very top section of the pedestal is your intercom system. It is a push to talk and also volume control. The front section of the pedestal, you'll also find an emergency stop, emergency hydraulic power, aerial speed, normal and fast, basket control, and then also tip lights and under basket lights, in addition with nozzle control for stream fog, right, left, up, and down. We do have ladder controls also located here for extend, retract, right, left, and up and down. Additionally, we have an ascendant aerial load chart here for waterway dry, charged, and also nozzle positions, and a few warnings here regarding tip over hazard, fall restraint required, crush injury, and also danger, electrocution hazard, because the apparatus is non-insulated. Now as we move to the dunnage area, you'll find additional storage on the top section accessible when the ladder is in the upward position. Top fill for your water tank is located also in the dunnage area on the outer edge. Cradle for your aerial device. As we move now, you'll see these stabilizers deployed. Let's move to the basket area in the front section. As we look up toward the basket area, you'll find the two master stream devices on the passenger and driver side. Additionally, these have 2.5-inch discharges just to the right and left side of the master stream device, pictured here in the image. These are a few additional images of the ladder and also of the basket and control module for the pedestal. We do have additional images with the cab tilted, chassis images, and engine images, and then the under portion of the body section. We'll go ahead and show a few of those here now. First, these are the tow hooks located on the front section of the apparatus. Your vehicle is equipped with a Cummins engine, which is an X15. I would like to point out, when you have tilted the cab, this is the safety bar that should be put into place once the cab is fully upright. Once this bar is in place, do not lower the cab onto the bar. Maintain equal pressure on both the right and left cab cylinders. Your vehicle is equipped with a TAC4 independent front suspension. We're now moving along the frame rail on the driver's side. This is your Allison transmission. As we move to the battery boxes on the passenger and driver side, on the driver's side is where you'll find your jumper studs just underneath the base of the battery box. You'll also find hydraulic reservoir for the cab lift. This will end the audio portion. We do have additional images here of the cab, chassis, and undercarriage next. This will complete the additional images. We do have a short video of your emergency warning lights activated. Congratulations, Meridian, Idaho, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 39105. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.